Welcome back, guys, in another video of mine, and in this video I will show you one magnificent longsword straight out from the medieval times. But first, before we start, if you're new in watching my video and you like the content of my YouTube channel, consider to subscribe. It's about 2 seconds to subscribe and it's entirely free, but with that action you're helping me a lot by doing so. Thank you very much. Now, we'll make that video as the last one. Let's begin with the maker or swordsmith of this beautiful blade, beautiful longsword. The swordsmith is Reginier. Well, we all know Reginier. This is the most respected swordsmith in Europe and making one of the best feathersheds and historical or custom-made swords. When you get a sword blade from that swordsmith, you will never make a mistake. We all know about Reginier and we all respect him. So I shall begin with the next part of the video, which is aesthetics and appearance of the blade. Here, in this part of the video, I shall talk about a little bit more about the sword itself, and it will take more time. The characteristics of the sword you can find in this description of the video. So, let's begin with the blade of the sword. The blade is typical for 13th century and the beginning of the 14th century. 4.6 centimeters wide blade at the cross guard and 6 millimeters thick at the cross guard. The blade is little bit heavy and the sword feels little bit heavy. We have typical fuller which runs through almost entire blade. The fuller itself at the cross guard is wider and deeper, and at the point of the sword the fuller gets narrow. The long sword is heavy, so I think that the fuller is so needed to balance the blade. The blade has distant taper, which is also needed to take out from that weight. The point is almost pointy but rounded enough in some degree. The blade is stiff and it doesn't bend that much. It almost doesn't bend, which in historical point of view it's good. The sword has to have flexibility but also needs to be stiff. At the crossguard we have the marking of the swordsmith, which again, I will say it again, this is extremely historical. Now we will talk about the hilt itself. The crossguard is not that simple. At the 2 ends of it there is a thicker and wider parts of the crossguard. At the center we have ridges who plays the role of divider. The ridges divide the crossguard into 2 parts, right and left, of course. Simple, but not that simple. The crossguard is beautiful. The handle itself is in oval form, covered with strap of a red leather. And now we move to the pommel. My God, the pommel. I can talk about that pommel at least for a day, but I will try to not do that. The form of the pommel is octagonal disc. I hope I pronounced it right, which reminds me actually at Kingdom Come. In that game we have a longsword which is actually, at least the pommel, it's the same. The difference between that sword and the sword in the game Kingdom Come is that the longsword in the Kingdom Come have more decorated pommel with different shapes made it into the pommel. Even that the pommel is not decorated is beautiful enough. And actually the sword reminds me of the longsword in a Kingdom Come. It's the reason I got that sword. At the pommel we have ridges which meets in the second part of the pommel. The pommel have a pinwall which is typical for more fancy and expensive swords of that period of time, in that period of the medieval ages. The sword is made after a historical example and from the typology of Oxshot. So the sword is historical? Yes, he is historical. Actually, the sword is most used in the middle of the 13th century and later on 14th century, and adapted by the Scottish in their wars against the Englishmen. And later on, that sword became the claymore. The blade is, how we said in the beginning of the video, 4.6 centimeters at the crossguard and almost doesn't change through entire blade. That's the reason why the blade of the sword is that heavy, or maybe I need to get used to it. HEMA performance. Well, here I will be short in my words, since the blade is stiff and almost don't have any flexibility, will be hard to be used in HEMA. Also, the edges of the crossguard and the pommel, it's little bit pointy. It's actually have edges at the pommel, at the crossguard. So the sword cannot be used in HEMA, or maybe I will try to use it only in solo drills, or maybe also in controlled partner drills, but it will be difficult. It's little bit heavy in the handle and in the blade, but maybe, how did I say, just maybe, I need to get used to it. If you let the sword lead you, it will be unstoppable. But if you try to stop the movement of the sword and bend to your will, you will need lots of energy to do it. I will use mostly the reconstruction of my elite Bulgarian feudal soldier in 14th century. I just need to make a scabbard for that blade and will be ready to go. In conclusion, the sword is more than magnificent. I don't have words to describe it, as the blade deserves. A magnificent piece of art. It's pure art. Another great product from the great XIIIa. That was for now, guys. Thank you for taking that time to watch the entire video. If you like the video, hit that like button under it, share it with your friends, and feel free to comment. If you're new watching my channel, I will be more than grateful if you subscribe. That will help me a lot. Bye guys, and see you soon.